Hey y'all, I'm Tracy. Welcome to Just Dig It Farms. So every year I always have a word for the new year and a scripture for the new year, and I set many goals for the new year. January 1 of the new year is always just like a refreshing new start. It's a time to look back on the past year and reflect on it, reflect on the good things, the blessings, the successes, the failures. We look back on our list of things that we wanted to accomplish for the year, and we see what we did accomplish and we see what we didn't accomplish. And then we can start planning for the new year and all of the things that we have planned for the new year, for the farm, for our lives, for our family, for our businesses, for ourselves. I don't like to call them New Year's resolutions because they're really not resolutions. They're just goals. They're just our goals for the year. They're just the things that we want to achieve in the new year. I always like to start my new year with a word, and that word just kind of sums up my focus for the whole year. And my word for 2023 is organization. I want 2023 to be a more organized year. My goal is to establish efficient systems that's going to help me better manage all of the categories in my life so that I can be more productive, more successful, and be able to achieve all of these things I'm dreaming for. So what I've come to realize is to be able to build this farm and create this farm to be what Jean and I are dreaming of it being. I've got to start creating some efficient systems and putting them in place to help me manage all of these things better so it can be successful. So what I mean by systems is like the garden. If I'm going to grow most of our food, which is one of my goals, is to be able to grow a good bit of our own food, then I need to have systems in place. I need to have a seed schedule in place. I need to know exactly when to sow each seed so that that has time to grow and I can harvest it before it either gets too cold or it gets too hot. I need to have fertilization systems in place. I need to have spray systems in place. I need to have systems in place for my animals, for my goats, when. And it needs to be on a calendar and on a schedule of when I need to be trimming their hooves, when I need to be doing their worm regimen, kidding season, when are they going to be in heat. I need to know all of these different things, and I need to have systems and schedules and things in place to be able to be successful at all of these things. So that has been a big focus for me this winter, is getting organized, getting my business organized, getting the YouTube channel organized, a content calendar and schedule in place, getting the farm organized and systems in place for the farm, and our personal goals that Jean and I have. Making steps and putting things into action to help us reach our personal goals. So that is my focus for this year, is organization and creating efficient systems to help me better manage every category in my life. Because see, I feel like last year was a year full of overwhelm and stress and being really, really busy from the time I wake up until I just absolutely crash at night, but not really checking anything off the list or completing anything. Just being super busy doing all these things, but at the end of the day, not really seeing where I accomplished much. Being busy doesn't necessarily mean being productive. The whole year last year, pretty much, I felt like I was just running around trying to do too many different things, and I wasn't really doing anything well. Last year, around September or so, I was just in a moment of really being overwhelmed, stressed, questioning, asking God, am I really supposed to be doing this? Am I really supposed to be doing YouTube? Am I really supposed to be trying to do all of these different things that I'm wanting to do and wanting to achieve? Is this what you have for me, or am I just, chasing my wild dreams and ideas, and it's not really the path you have for me because I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know how to manage it all. I don't know how to do it all well. And I was just praying and talking to God and asking Him to show me if I was on the right path, if I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, or am I trying to make things happen that's really not His plan for me? And if I am doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, how do I manage all of this, Lord? I mean, that's what I was praying. I was just having a heart-to-heart conversation with God. And immediately in my prayer time that morning, sitting on my sofa, I felt God speak to me, and he gave me this idea of in her boots. And it just came to my mind that I know a lot of wonderful ladies, strong, creative, talented women who are farmers, who are homesteaders, who are businesswomen, who have YouTube channels, who have families, who are doing all of these things that I'm doing. They're wearing the same boots that I'm trying to wear. And I should go ask them, how do they manage all of these things? Because not only do I feel like I am struggling with that, I'm sure that there's many of you who are struggling with that same question. How do you manage and do all of the things that you're responsible to do? How do you manage all of the different boots that you wear? And I'm sure that there's many of you who are feeling the same way. So that morning, sitting on my sofa, in that moment of overwhelm and questioning everything, in that conversation with God, he gave me immediately the idea of in her boots, to go and interview these wonderful ladies and see how they manage their life. And I mean, within 20 minutes maybe, I had the whole vision for the series of In Her Boots. I had the whole idea behind it of them wearing their boots, and I knew what questions I was going to ask them, and I knew like the theme and the layout of the videos. I mean, I had it all. I pretty much had a list within that 20 minutes of 15 women that I wanted to go interview and talk to. So in that moment of doubt and being super overwhelmed and just having a real raw conversation with God, In Her Boots was born. My quest is about this In Her Boots little series that I'm doing. God gave me that idea one morning sitting on the couch. I was just like praying the same thing we just talked about. Lord, is this what I'm really supposed to be doing? Like, I knew in the beginning that I was, but just kind of gotten to a point of, is this the path that you want me to be on, you know, or am I just chasing another great idea and a wild dream? Or is this, because I have a lot of great ideas, but it's just, you know, which ones do you want me to take, right?
Right.
So is this what you want me to be doing? And I'm not kidding you. As soon as I finished praying, I opened up my phone to start working on some things. And it was like, I just had this idea. In Her Boots, because there's other women out there asking the same questions. There's other women out there feeling like I'm feeling. You know, I just got In Her Boots. So let's go talk to some ladies that wear a lot of different boots, and let me see how they manage everything. How are they doing everything? So last year, I had the opportunity to talk to many lady farmers and homesteaders, and I asked them all the same question. So this is the big question that I'm asking every single lady farmer, homesteader that I'm meeting with. How are you managing wearing all of these different boots? Okay, so one other question. Okay. Now, how do you manage all of those boots? Now, here's my big question.
Okay.
Every farm lady's getting asked this question that I'm talking to. How are you managing all this? So in all the different boots that you wear,
how do you manage everything?
And they all had something very valuable to say. They all had some awesome advice and some words of wisdom. And I pulled many nuggets from each one of them of things that I plan to put into practice into my life.
I've never liked alarm clocks. I don't like alarm clocks. I don't like time clocks. I don't like somebody micromanaging me and telling me I've got to be somewhere at 9 o'clock and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I don't like rigid. It like suffocates my creativity when everything's so rigid, right?
It's gotta be.
Don't it?
It's gotta be something connected to a more creative personality.
Yeah.
And a more creative mind that when you're put into boxes, it just...
I don't work well in boxes.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. And that was something I kind of worried about with YouTube because you have to be consistent.
You have to be consistent.
And so much of what I do has to be consistent. Animal care, managing our business.
I never have functioned well under that rigid schedule and routine. But many areas in my life actually require consistency and schedules and routines. And I realized that if I don't get better at consistency and schedules and routines, then I'm probably not going to be able to achieve all of the things that I'm dreaming of achieving. I'm probably not going to reach the goals that I want to reach. I'm probably not going to be as successful as I want to be at what I'm doing. But I don't want to be so rigid in those schedules and routines that I lose that creativity or I lose my flexibility that I have. The flexibility that I have to be there for my family when they need me, or, you know, just to be able to just go with Gene when he goes out of town, or just pick up and go see my son and daughter-in-law in Florida. You know, I don't want to be so rigid that I lose that flexibility, and I don't want my schedules to be so rigid that I'm suffocated and I lose that creativity. So there's a balance there, and I've been working on that this winter of putting schedules and systems in place, but still being able to be creative and have some flexibility. My friend Jaclyn Head over at Head Family Farm and I discussed this pretty deeply, because we have a lot of things in common.
I'll say this too. Knowing when something is not worth it for you. Is not worth your stress, valuable. Is not worth your time, is not worth your worry, it's not worth your energy.
Yeah.
Or it may mean that I have to say no to something.
Yeah.
We've
or
said
somebody.
No. Yes.
I loved her advice when she said that we have a lot of things we want to do, but knowing when something is worth it or not is the key to it. Asking yourself, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this worth what it's going to cost me to do this? And if the answer is no, then being able to realize that and let it go. And maybe you're just letting it go for a season. Maybe you're just letting it go for a little while and you're going to get to come back to that later. Or maybe you do just need to let it go permanently. And she also said learning to say no. So I've been looking at all of the different things that I want to do that's on my endless list and asking myself and asking God to direct my path and show me what do I need to let go of? What do I need to pursue intently? What do I need to focus on this season, this year? What do I need to let go of right now? Even if it's just temporary, maybe I can pick it back up again next year. And I'm also learning to say no. That I don't like saying no to people. I don't like telling people no. I want to help people. I want to be there for people. But I'm learning to say no. Actually, what I'm learning to do when somebody asks me something is, let me see, let me think about this, and let me get back to you. And the first thing I do is I talk to Gene about it, because he is the person that keeps me grounded. And then I ask 2 questions. Number 1, is this something that God's directing me to do? And number 2, is this something that's going to help me reach my goals? And if the answer is no, then my answer has to be no. Now, my good friend Judy at Autaugaville Farmers Market said something that I definitely needed to hear, because I am a perfectionist.
Accept the fact that you're not going to be perfect all the time. It's like my store can look fabulous, my front windows look fabulous, but I've got 2 weeks of checks I really need to get posted into the bank account.
Yeah.
Everything is not going to be perfect all the time. Business can be great, but maybe there's a week's worth of laundry at home that needs to get done.
Yeah.
Everything is not. I would love to have that moment where everything is
right
done.
in the world.
You know, the laundry is done, the checkbook is caught up, all the displays are done, all the food orders are placed, and everything is done just the way it needs to be. And I don't know that I've ever had that moment, but you know, I had to at some point say it's okay. It's okay if there's laundry left to do. It's going to be all right. It's still going to be there for me.
Yeah.
You know, you do what needs to be done at the time. And you juggle it, and it is truly a juggle. What you do when, and you time it out the very best that you can. Let it be okay if you fail. But pick yourself back up by your bootstraps and keep going.
And keep moving.
Yeah, you just got to keep moving.
I'm usually an all or nothing person. So if I'm going to do something, it's going to get 100% of me, and I want to do it excellent, or I'd rather just not do it at all. And I've always been that way, and it's good in some ways, but then it's bad in other ways. Being a perfectionist can hinder you from actually doing things, because I've got that mentality of, if I can't do it perfect, then I don't want to do it. And life's not perfect. Everything can't be perfect all the time. And I love what Judy said, because she has multiple businesses, and she's a farmer, and she's a mom and a wife, and she has a lot of different things that she does. And she gave such good advice during our interview that everything can't be perfect all the time. You know, maybe today the YouTube channel, I've got the videos up, I've got it all done, it's great, it's perfect. But my garden's a mess. You know, there's absolutely no way to have perfectionism in every single area of your life unless you just have one thing that you do. There's just no way. And that's what Jaclyn and I talked about too. And she had some really good words of wisdom.
The way that I'm able to do what I do is pretty much in every category. I have grace. Grace is the biggest thing that you have to allow yourself. And I'll say allow yourself because it's really easy. Really, really easy to be your worst critic. And the person who is telling you the worst things is yourself. It's very easy to do that. And so, you can't give 100% to every category. It's physically impossible. Physically and mentally impossible.
You can't give 100% to every single category. You just can't. Sometimes it's seasonal. Sometimes, you know, your focus is on writing articles for the website during this season. And then sometimes it's the garden. The garden gets 100% attention. Planting, sowing, weeding. Then a few months later, it's harvesting, preserving, putting up food. So she was saying you have to prioritize your list, what needs to be done now, do the best that you can do, and give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up because everything's not perfect and everything's not done right and you didn't get this accomplished and you didn't do that and this is a mess and this and that. Give yourself grace. And I also love what Judy said. She said, let it be okay if you fail. But pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. You know, it's okay to be bummed out because you failed at something, or to be discouraged, or to be overwhelmed, or to be tired, or to whatever. It's okay to have those feelings, but don't let those feelings shut you down. Don't let those feelings stop you. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going, and don't quit. When I talked to Brooke at CogHill Farms, she had some pretty great words of wisdom from MaryCarl that I think we all need to hear.
Manage everything. You know how different people do things different ways.
Right.
So how are you?
Of all people to be giving me advice, MaryCarl has been the best at giving me advice.
How about that?
She's 12 years old.
Mouth
And
of babes.
I can't tell you the countless times that she has told me, Mama, don't worry about it. Mama, just settle down. It's going to take care of itself. Or slow down and don't worry so much.
Yeah.
Don't worry about things you can't control.
When I asked Brooke how she managed all the different boots that she wears and how she gets everything done, she gave some really great words of advice.
There are days when I wake up and I think to myself, how in the world am I going to get everything done that needs to get done?
Yeah, it's impossible.
I just take her advice, and I realize that everything can't be done at one time. We have to sort through, and we have to figure out our priorities, and we have to figure out which thing is most important and which needs to be done first. And after you get that figured out, then you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
You just have to sit back and you have to look at the whole picture, and you have to realize that things will get done. It may not happen in a day, it may not happen in a week, but don't quit. Continue to work on what you've started on. Don't jump around. Realize that mouths have to be fed. Some things can wait.
Yeah.
And what order it needs to be done in.
Right.
And I think once you figure that out, then the rest falls into place. Try not to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Let MaryCarl tell you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Calm down.
Just calm down and don't
Calm
worry
down,
about it.
Mama. You'll get it all done.
She said, prioritize your list. Figure out what's the most important, what needs to be done now, or what needs to be done first. Focus on that. Don't jump around from project to project. Focus on that one thing until you complete it, and then move on to the next project or the next task that's on your priority list. She said, one day at a time, one task at a time. That's one of the nuggets of advice that I took away from my conversation with Brooke, because part of our problem around here is there's so many things that we want to do on this farm. We want goats, we want sheep, we want a cow, we want donkeys, we want quail, we want so many different things that we want to do. An orchard, I want my potager to be completed, a market garden. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all of the different things that we want to do here on the farm. We've built a lot of different infrastructures. We've added a lot of different things to our farm, but we haven't completed a lot of systems. We've got them in place, but they're not completed. So they're not as efficient and as effective as they could be. And that's one of the things that Jean and I talked about for last year, was we weren't going to add anything new to the farm until we completed systems that we had in place. So like until we completed the potager garden and we got the irrigation in and we got the fence built and we did all those things. We weren't going to add any more animals until we got the goat fences finished and we've got the rotational pasture in place and the fences in place and built the birthing stalls and all of those things. We said last year that we weren't going to add anything new to the farm until we completed systems that were unfinished. Well, we didn't. We didn't really add any new animals or anything to the farm. We didn't add any new projects to the farm. But last year, there were so many different things that took place in our life, we didn't really get to do a lot on the farm. We haven't had the money financially to do all the things that we wanted to do. We moved my mom, we moved our son, we moved Jean's mom and dad out of their house down to the farm, started building their cabin. We had a tree fall on the barn, the tractor broke. all of those kind of things is what took our money and our time and our energy, instead, fixing and repairing things. So we didn't really get to do all of the things that we planned to do last year, completing unfinished systems. So this year, it's on our goals again. We're going back to that. We're not adding anything new to this farm until we have completed unfinished systems here. Until the potager is completed, until the goat fencing's completed, until Pop and Mom's house is completed. So I love what Brooke said when she said, one day at a time, one task at a time. What's priority? Focus on that. Don't jump around from thing to thing to thing. Focus on that until you get it completed, and then move to the next. That was definitely valuable advice from Brooke that we are putting into action around our farm this year. My sweet friend Ginger over at Neely Christmas Tree Farm, I loved her answer when I asked her how she manages it all.
And when people ask me, how do you do it? And I know you talk about how do you handle everything you do. Mine has been not to stay so rigid and have so much of a schedule. Now there's some things that, yes, we have to have a schedule to spray this or plant this, but
Right.
Flexibility has been my main thing for the business.
Yeah.
If my grandmother needs to go to the doctor or the kids get sick or something, I just do a lot of bouncing around to be able to take care of that, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I think that's one of the things that God has led me to do, or I'm here for, is to take care of people. That's just something that I enjoy. I've had the elderly to the babies to, and now I have this farm that I'm still get to see people. They get excited to be here. I have special needs groups that come out, and so it's just, this farm has just done so what I want it to do plus more.
So you're definitely, you have that caregiving, that heart to take care of and care for people, your grandmother, your dad, your mom.
Right. I'm just
children.
Thankful that I can do that.
So that's one of the things in doing this farm, was that you wanted to have a job where you could have the flexibility to care for the people that you love.
That's exactly right. Yes.
See, that is beautiful. And I think that when you have that kind of heart, I think God honors that, and makes it possible, right?
I
really
think
believe
so.
that. Flexibility. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. I know I need consistent schedules, routines in place to be able to accomplish all the things I want to accomplish. But I need that flexibility because I want to be able to be available for my family if they need me. I want to be able to have the freedom to pick up and go down and see my son and daughter-in-law, and especially in June when my grandbaby gets here. I want that flexibility to be able to just go if I want to go, or to be able to just help whoever needs help in my family. I loved when Ginger said that, flexibility, because that is her heart. I mean, you just talk to her for 5 minutes and you know that her heart is to be able to be available for her family and take care of her family. But she's also a businesswoman, and she has a dream. She had a dream, and she's pursuing it. And I believe that you can pursue your dreams, and you can achieve your dreams and your goals, but you can also take care of your family. Now, when I talked to Zoe at Chestnut Hills Farms, she had some really good advice when I asked how she managed her day and how she managed everything.
As far as YouTube, I pick one day. Right now, we're one video a week. We've got sports and kids and all. And so one day, I'm going to accomplish that task of filming that one day's, for that week. As far as farming, if I know in advance that we've got big tasks coming, it's kind of working around that task to prepare for that one weekend task. All the things that I can do that don't need two people. So that way when I have the help I need, I'm not having to hurry and rush to get all the other stuff done that I could have done all week.
And it's more efficient.
That's right.
When he's here.
Yes. And baking can be a lot because it takes a lot of time.
It does.
I bake on Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
I don't care how many orders I have. I bake Tuesday and Thursday. And the others just get pushed. I take so many orders every time. And we just push them out however many weeks it takes. Because if I bake every day, I'm not going to love baking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to love what I love.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a pretty good schedule.
I do
And
follow
routine and system that you're following.
That's right. In
Got
pencil.
to work on. Yeah.
It's always in pencil because everything changes. You know,
Yeah.
I might have big plans of what I'm going to do tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes and it has rained or
Changes.
that's right.
So you got to be flexible. Got to be flexible.
No.
She said she assigns specific jobs to specific days. So I took what Zoe said and I'm using that same concept to create management systems for the farm. So I've broke our farm down into zones and each day is a zone. I got the idea of zones from my friend Allison at Handmade Homestead. She suggested it. She said that's how she manages her farm and her life. So I thought that was wonderful. That was a great way to be able to manage everything on the farm. But I feel like once I get this zone management system in place, that if I can just stay on top of everything according to my daily schedule, I feel like I should be able to do this and this should work really well. So I'm going to give this a try and see how this goes. Lauren at Cattywampus Acres and Denise and Deannette at CogHill Farms, when I talked to them and I asked them this question, they both had the same answer. It was having a great
How do you manage all of these different boots that you wear?
You can't eat an elephant in all one bite.
Yeah. Very true.
You just one day at a time, you know.
Well, I will say this.
And of course, we do lean on each other a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Y'all have a good support system. Y'all have each other to.
Absolutely.
And so it's just each day, get up. What do we have that day? That task at hand, you know. Of course, animals are a priority to make sure they're fed and taken care of.
Right.
During the summertime, it's picking produce and making sure all the vegetables are picked and harvested and canned and put up. You know, and it's just one day at a time.
Yeah.
And we can't not recognize, you know, that our kids and our husbands are all part of it as well.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said before, you know, each person plays a role in what we do.
Sounds like you got a good team.
We
Helps
do.
you to be able to maintain and operate all this efficiently. Like, do you have some systems in place? Because I need some wisdom.
So I would say a lot of homesteaders, especially us, I feel like things are driven by necessity. Like some of it's last minute necessity. Like we need the structure built this weekend because something happened.
Yeah.
Or we have waited till the last minute and now we have piglets born and they need somewhere to go. Like so I will say necessity drives a lot of things. But as far as systems, you know, it just kind of depends on what it is. You know, Jason and I each have very different roles. He makes all of the soap.
Okay.
I started off and started making soap in the beginning, and then he took it over completely. And so he makes every bar of soap is made by Jason.
Okay.
And so he has, you know, he'll maintain, you know, boxes and ordering of boxes and stuff like that. But then most of the oils that we need, I will go pick up and I'll get. And then, you know, I'll do the finances of the business. And I'll maintain all of that stuff and records and sales tax and all of that stuff. So you have to have a good teammate, and it makes everything so much better. But as far as like getting everything done, you really figure out what streamlines. Like, this sounds simple and kind of obvious, but automatic waterers. Yeah. Like, if you can automate stuff on your farm, it's
game changer,
life saving. Like, so you're not hauling 5-gallon buckets to fill up waters. And so when you just get kind of things like that in place, and when we're in a growing season, things are even different because in the summer, like, you know, when things are full throttle, like produce is up, you know, coming out your eyeballs. It's really, it just takes discipline. It's really what it is. And so, you know, we'll have different, you know, or if Jason's going to go pick a bunch of tomatoes, well, he needs to cover that with me first because I might be the one canning or freezing.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't fit into my schedule, like, well, let's pick those tomorrow instead.
Right.
But yeah, so the system is have a good teammate, but also just kind of like what is the next need for us.
They both talked about how each members of the family or each person on the farm has a certain responsibility and a certain task that they do, or skill or talent or whatever, and they all just kind of work together as a team. And having that team is what helps them be able to accomplish everything and be successful, because they both stated that, you know, without the other person, the farm wouldn't be what it is. I agree with that so much. We do the same thing here. Like, you know, Gene has certain things that he does. Chase has certain things that he does. I have certain things I'm responsible for and that I do. And, you know, we all work together. I am going to try to look at different things that need to be done here and see what Chase might want to do, or Gene's mom and dad might want to do, just to help on the farm, because everything can't be done by one person. There's just absolutely no way. Gene works full time, so he's pretty much a weekend warrior here on the farm. And when he is here, I mean, he knocks stuff out. He gets projects done. He knocks things out in his 2 days that he gets to work on the farm. So Gene has his plate full. But, you know, there's other things that Chase can do, and there's other things that maybe Mom and Pop might could start doing if they want to, because we are a team here. And when I saw how Deannette and Denise at CogHill Farm and how Lauren and Jason did things, everything just works so much better when you have a good team and everybody knows what they're responsible for, what their tasks are, what their jobs are, and they can all take pride in that. And we can all just work together. Taylor at Boozer Farms, man, she had some words of wisdom. And I'm telling you, when she said what she said, it just pierced me. And it was like God was speaking to me, telling me, that is a word for
any
you.
other field than agriculture, where you can see the hand of God more clearly. And so I get those daily reminders that if I'm being overwhelmed, God isn't trying to overwhelm me. That is never, you know, he tells us his yoke is easy, his burden is light. Absolutely, it's hard, but he's not trying to overwhelm or break me down. So a lot of times when I am feeling like that, it's probably an indication that I've put more on my plate that didn't belong there.
Yeah.
So being very intentional to recognize my portion and what I'm capable of. I can look and watch YouTube all day and see what other people can do, but I may not be capable of that, and that's all right. I really need to fit my boots the best way that I can fit them and not be trying to fill somebody else's boots. And so I think that being focused on my portion, my responsibilities, and then surrounding myself with those people who love me and lift me up is what helps me wear all the hats and boots that a woman has to wear.
I'm guilty of that. I am so guilty of putting too much on myself. And then I'm super overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. I'm tense, and you know, the whole family feels that, and it's just it's not the way God intends for us to be. Just like Taylor said, you know, it's not God that's putting this more on me than I can bear. It's not him that's trying to break me down. That's not God. That's myself, putting too much on myself. So I have to step back and look at what's overwhelming me. Is it something that I put on myself? And if it is, I have to let go of that. And I've got to just focus on my path, my purpose, my goals, what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, Laura at Spencer Farms really helped me put things into perspective.
You hit the ground running, for sure. But it's also something that I really do always think to myself, this is something that I get to do. It's not something that I have to do.
Yeah.
And I have, over the last couple of years, really adopted a whole philosophy of more joy, less stress. And this came from a friend of mine who did a program for Christmas, because people get so worked out over Christmas holiday time that they don't get to enjoy the holiday. So she called it More Joy, Less Stress. And I thought, what a thing to live by. What a way to live.
Man, that's every day.
It is. It's every day. And I realized that the things that were stressing me in my life were mostly self-inflicted. and that I could control most of those things. And so if you can control it, then you should.
Yeah.
And so I started just weeding out the things that if I don't enjoy this so much, then I don't need to do this so much.
It was so profound to me when Laura said, more joy, less stress. If I'm not enjoying the things that I'm doing, maybe I need to weed out the things that aren't bringing me joy anymore. See, I get so caught up in all of the jobs and all of the tasks that needs to be done and accomplished that the whole time I'm doing that, I'm thinking about the next thing I got to do, and I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing, where I'm at, and what I'm doing, even though it's something that I love to do. It becomes a chore. It just becomes a job, a task. I got to get this one done so I can go get this one done. And I'm not really even enjoying what I'm doing anymore. And I mean, when Laura said that, that was just like so profound. You know, life is short. And if we're always just rushing through our life and we're always so stressed and stressed about all of the things that we got to do, and we're not really enjoying what we're doing, and we're just too stressed to have joy, then that is really not, I don't believe that's how God intended us to live our lives. And you know, I love when she said that about more joy, less stress. And if we're doing something that maybe we used to enjoy it, but we're not really enjoying it so much anymore, and it's really causing more stress than joy, maybe we don't need to do that anymore. You know? So Gina and I have been taking a deep look at different things that we're doing and really asking ourselves, do we really enjoy this? Like, why are we doing this? And talking about weeding out things in our life that are just not really bringing us joy, but bringing us stress. Now, my best buddy, Holly, that manages the community garden at Montevallo, and she owns Simply Johnson and Family. When I asked her how she managed all the different boots that she wore, Holly had the simplest answer, but probably the most powerful answer. How are you managing wearing all of these different boots?
God.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yep.
And just faith.
Don't make me cry.
Well, what made me do it was y'all's video, and I thought, you know what? I'm doing it. I've been teetering with it all these years, and I watched y'all's testimony video, and I just, basically cried forever. But I thought, you know what? That is the final sign, because I was at a place in my life that I just wanted to be here at the garden, doing my thing and designing what I like to do, being able to work at Petals and just do all these multiple jobs, because I'm not really into repetition. I like multiple things. So it worked out really good. And just after much needed prayer and the fact that I watched the video and y'all said step out in faith, I stepped out in faith.
I think that's the most important thing that we can do, to be able to manage our lives the best and to be the most successful in our lives and to be the happiest in our lives, is to put God first, to always put Him first, and to invite Him into every part of our life, and to ask Him for His guidance and His direction, and for Him to open up doors of opportunity and shut doors that we shouldn't be going through, and to present your dreams to God, and to walk in faith and believe and trust that He's going to make your impossible dreams possible, and He's going to guide and direct your steps and give you the ability to do the things that you need to do and to live the life that He's purposed you to live. From each of these ladies, I walked away with valuable words of wisdom and wonderful pieces of advice from each one of them. When I left each interview, I wrote down the thing that they said that really spoke to my spirit. And I have been meditating on that and thinking on that all winter, and working on how to apply those different things better in my life. I'm still working on organizing and on trying to create these systems and things to put into place into my life, in every category of my life, to try to help us better manage everything and, to be able to achieve the goals and things that I want to achieve. So I'm still working on trying to create these systems, but I'll share with y'all throughout the year the different things that I've come up with and the different things that I'm doing and applying in our life. It's like the farm management system that I've created here of dividing the farm up into zones. So as I come up with these things and establish these things, then I'll share them with you. And y'all be walking through the processes with me this whole year. I hope that y'all have subscribed to our channel and you're joining us on this journey. If you haven't, please go subscribe and join us. We've got a lot of great things coming up for 2023. One of which is there will be a season 2 of In Her Boots. And I have been working this past week on lining up, scheduling interviews, and I've got about 6 scheduled already. And I'm actually going to do my first interview for season 2 this weekend. Jaclyn, Head, and I are going to do a traveling boots and hit the road. And we're going to interview Sheila at Hoss Tools. She's going to be my first one. I've got a lot of great ladies lined up for this year that I'm super excited to talk to and to bring you guys along with me on that. So it's going to be a good year. You can see this is our In Her Boots logo. And we've got a lot of great merch over at our merchandise store. I'll put the link to that below in the description. Or you can just go to our website, and on our website it has the links for everything on there. It's just a good landing place where you can go and it'll take you to everything you need to go to. If you purchase anything over on our shop that has the In Her Boots logo on it, all of the money will go towards the travels for the In Her Boots interviews. So I'm super excited about that. Season 2 of In Her Boots will be on in September. So I'm going and traveling and doing interviews all spring and summer, and then we'll bring season 2 to you in either August or September of this year, and you'll get to meet all of these wonderful ladies and join me as I chat with them and tour their farms. Now, I've had quite a few of you ask me about my hat, if I had it available on my merchandise to sell. I wish I did. I don't. This was a sweet, sweet gift from Zach and Jaclyn and Eleanor at Head Family Farm. They gave me this for Christmas, and it is so perfect with our logo, and I wish that we could get a hat like this made that would be available for you, and I'm going to check into that and see if we can. But she got this at Tractor Supply. A lot of you've asked me about it, and that's where she got it from. So I don't know if they still have them. I have no idea. But I'm going to talk to Wendy at A&W Mini Farm. She has her own business making t-shirts and hats and things. And I'm going to see if she could help me get some of these hats made. So I'll let you guys know about that. I know there's so many of you out there who struggle with the same things as me, and you're trying to figure out how to manage all of these different boots that you wear and how to be able to accomplish and do all of the things that you want to do and need to do. And I hope that all of these words of wisdom and advice that came from all of these wonderful ladies is as helpful for you as it has been for me. And I wish you all the very, very best this year. I pray that in everything that you do, that you have success and you have joy. And I just thank you guys so much for following us on this journey. God bless you, and I will see y'all on the next video.